been putting out too many videos lately, which, I guess I'm getting in the busy part of my job of the school year. And so I'm just like, I'm busy. And making the extra trip to see my brother in the mornings kind of takes a toll on me in the afternoons because I used to take naps in the middle of the afternoon when I get off work. And that's just me, making sure I'm taking care of my body, right? And this is before my brother came to the city with me. And yeah, it's starting to catch up with me. And there's pollen everywhere, y'all. So you might hear me like clear my throat a lot because in the South right now, nothing but pollen is everywhere. It's everywhere. Like, I'm kind of glad, like last week, I thought I was going to go wash my car and there was just a long line. And then the next day, all the pollen was like everywhere. And some coworkers were complaining, like, oh my gosh, I washed my car this weekend and it's got pollen all over. It's like, yeah, pollen is everywhere right now. So I'm just doing what I can to take care of my allergies right now. And it's, just the sake of me not being able to breathe or clear my throat a lot. Like, it's like, it's a lot. And so I'm being worn down. I feel like it. I feel it. But this week, with the extra care of like making sure my brother does not try to dial 911 again and yet again, um, and making sure he gets all of his doses. Now, there was one time during this past week, that he missed a dose or it got delayed. No, he missed a dose, and then another dose was delayed in his prescribed medications. And it does make a difference in him. Like, it really does. I can tell when he is not medicated. Most people who, I guess, if they don't know, and I started to learn. At first, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be honest. At first, I didn't know until you go look and see that he didn't take it. But I can kind of now judge a little bit more based on, I asked him, a series of questions, and it's based on how he responds. Will I know if he has taken his medication because of how he responds, or if he responds. And yeah, I can tell. So today he did take his medication, but I think he may have taken it way too early, and that's yet another issue that we're still working on, because I can't be there with him 24 hours a day. And that's why I feel like he needs 24-hour care. We talked about earlier this week about the shot again when he was medicated, and he seemed a little bit more open to it. Before he was asking for it, and then the next day I took him and he bolted. He, had a panic attack and left, like ran out of the office. So I'm, talking to him again about it. So we did this Thursday. I had a conversation with him when I knew he was medicated, and he seems like, okay, his response was more reasonable. And then what else were we working on? Asking me lots of questions now. So that's, again, how I know a lot of the supplements that I'm giving him are starting to work. Because it used to be where it would be not even an on-off switch, but you can tell he's medicated, but then he doesn't have anything to say or contribute. Like, even if you wanted to talk, and I found this out intuitively and just got it confirmed today, that sometimes he goes into a catatonic state. Catatonic. Am I saying it right? Catatonic? Catatonic? Yeah, catatonic state where he can't talk. And nobody talks about that kind of thing. So my brother has schizophrenia, so nobody talks about that. And there's symptoms that, yeah, no one would have, guessed that, hey, that's a part of having schizophrenia. So yeah, there are times where he can't talk. It's not like he won't talk. And unfortunately, there are, people out there who claim to be for behavioral health, and they are not aware of these extra other symptoms, because first of all, my brother is not, um, he's not a violent person, and nor is he aggressive either. So that's him normally. So even when he is in his manic state, he's not going to be like, what people think on the TV. He's more angry and kind of like, and then he's swiping at things that aren't there. He's not hitting, he's not punching, he's not looking like he's kind of like, whatever it is he's seeing, he's like, get out of my way kind of thing. And then yeah, that's pretty much it. And then he gets upset about money. That's pretty much it. Okay. And he gets confused a lot. So today I kind of engaged a little bit, as I knew he's coming off of his medication, but I didn't know when he took it this morning because I slept in. We were on our way to the movies, and he seemed okay, because I usually can tell even over the phone, like in his voice, the tone of his voice, if he's feeling okay or not. Sorry, I had to go over more speed bumps. And yeah, he seemed okay. And he seemed kind of okay driving down there, but he started asking more questions about his disability benefits. Okay, so he's obsessed with the money. And I just kind of had to tell him today, because he kept asking for things, and I'm just like, you have no idea. And I'm not complaining, but I wouldn't have never brought it up. Okay, so I'm not that kind of person that would say, like, you owe me all this money. Like, he's sick, he's ill. Okay, so he keeps bringing up the things that I can buy him and stuff like that, and I'm like, are you kidding me? You threw your phone away 2 months ago that I bought you and was paying the bill for. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. When you throw somebody, like, he's literally throwing money into the garbage, literally. And of course I got mad that time, but afterwards I'm like, you're gonna have to wait to get a new phone. So now he has a new phone. But he's like asking, like, oh, I can get a new phone. It's like, what happened to the phone you have now, right? The one I just got you a new phone, and I'm still paying this new bill too. So I don't know if it is a part of the illness. I think it is, where he wants to like spend money. And I think one time, not today though, I think one time he actually tried to get mad at me, claiming that I'm stealing his money. I was like, you know what? I wish I was stealing your money, and then that way I would be spending my money. What are you talking about? But he, I kind of just got fed up with him asking for things all the time and then not taking care of things. Because right now the issue with the phone, even though it is new, is that he's not keeping it clean. And that's a part of his schizophrenia. He's not keeping himself clean. He's not keeping his things clean. So he's saying that, oh, the cords don't work because they're broken. And I'm like, it's like, yeah, you've got a bunch of gunk kicked up into the thing. It does work. It works. And just like when, same phone, he put a bunch of apps on it, and next thing you know, it's got malware all over it. And he's like, oh, let's get a new phone, let's throw it away. It was like, first of all, you did this. Second of all, it took me almost 2 days to get all those things off of his phone that he chose to put on it. Okay. And then he's still asking me about um, the bank account that he closed, he keeps asking me like, "Oh, so I could put $30 into the PNC account." I was like, "What account?" Because you closed it. You got mad because you started to realize what it means to have just a certain amount of money every month, and you thought that you were just going to get money after money after money. There's bigger issues around this, even beyond the mental illness. I'm going to say that I'm upset about, and it's not necessarily his fault, but I'm telling him that the care that he got from previous caregivers was subpar, and the people that were who were around him, they did not know, and or they had this attitude of victimhood. I don't think it's quite victimhood, but it definitely wasn't about making a life. It's almost like dead end. It's like, this is it. You might as well just spend all your money and be hopeless. That kind of mentality that was happening. And being under that kind of influence, I don't want to see that with him again. That's like yet another reason why it's still taking a while for me to find somewhere or find care for him, because I don't want him to be put in a situation where everybody around him is like, bad attitude, and the world is like, basically people have thrown them away. He is not thrown away. And I don't want him to feel like he is being thrown away, especially after the research I've done so far, that you can like go into remission with this. And I wish more people would know about this. Certain mental illnesses can heal. They can be healed, not medicated, healed. Okay? And yeah, so he went in about like money and stuff, and then I just kind of had to push back a little bit and say, you know what, I don't want to have this conversation with you, because you don't realize how much money I'm actually spending on you, and you have no idea what this little bit of money is actually doing or not doing for you. And you think that it's a lot because you're not there paying the bills, you're not there signing the checks, you're not there at the grocery store trying to decide, like, do you get this or do you get that this week, so he unfortunately, he never had a chance to do life skills when he was younger, because his first sign of psychosis, I could probably say, like, when he was a teenager, definitely. And then he also, something happened when he was like, I feel like it was 24 or 25 or something. Something happened, and he ended up um, getting in trouble with the police. However, they did not file charges. And this is where, again, I'm trying to explain to him, it doesn't have to be this way. Like, he's stuck in this, again, victim mentality, thinking like, because he even said on our drive to the movies, he's like, well, I guess I need to just go back to jail. Because he really does believe that. He really believes that. Like, because unfortunately, the city he was in, they put people who have mental illness in jail. Because they don't have the resources, they don't have the money, they just put them in jail. And he now believes that that's where he belongs. He belongs in jail. And I was like, you don't belong in jail. You don't. And it might take more time to, work on him with that. But yeah, so we went to the movies. I basically told him, like, listen, we need to actually sit down and have a real conversation about money, and you need to see what I'm actually spending. But we went to the movies. We tried to stay at the movies. He got upset that there were people there at the movies. And so we left. We didn't even stay there an hour. I don't even think we were there. In fact, yeah, we were probably maybe there 20 minutes in the theater. Wow, that's wild. So yeah, um, and I don't know. I'm not upset per se. I'm I'm just tired right now, and I've got more answers now. Um, I was on TikTok of all places. Oh my gosh, only because I was again cleaning up my brother's phone, and he has TikTok on it, and I just decided to run a search because other social media doesn't seem like they have much on schizophrenia for people. So ran a search, and I found some things. And that's kind of where again I found out about or confirmed the catatonia, because I suspected it because it looked like it to me. I mean, I've seen people in catatonic states, right? So it looked like it to me with him like a few times, and then he has even mentioned that there are times that he can't talk, or he'll say I don't want to talk. But there are times when I'm talking to him, and I know, because we don't play that in our house, in our family, and I know he would have responded with words in a certain way, but he didn't or couldn't, and that's how I know. So even when you see all of these brochures with the advice on mental health and stuff, I really hate that it's so general and basic, that to the point where if you're saying, oh, go out and be around people, but you're not explaining why. I know this. My brother wants that, but there are times he cannot do it because he's catatonic. Okay? He literally cannot move, or he cannot speak. So what do you want him to do in those situations? So now that I know that that's what he's going through, I'm telling him now, and I'm like, listen, so your symptoms, now I see what's really going on here. So these are your symptoms. And every time I see, even today, where I felt like he was kind of at a little bit at his worst, a little bit, because he was kind of complaining and being irritable and talking about, um, where's my money kind of stuff, and swiping at while I'm driving, swiping at random things that are not there. Um, I started telling him about some of his symptoms, not the delusions that he's swiping at, but the symptoms of the writing. Like I've mentioned it to him before, because he also um, he will write. Like right now, he left his, and you know what the magic thing of this is when I tell him about his symptoms, magically they seem to kind of slow down a little bit. So I don't know if that me telling him actually helps him. I think it might, because there have been times where I've told him certain things that's happening, and then things change. So it's not, that's how I know I feel like he can go into remission. It's like I tell him certain things, and then they they don't stop. They just kind of slow down. Okay? So it's almost like he needs someone who he knows is real. I'm definitely real. um and being a sibling, it's like I can take him seriously, but then I can also not take him seriously. I was like, listen, I ain't got time for this. It's like you're having symptoms right now, and then just carry on, and then let him deal with whatever's going on. So that's basically what happened today. Now, we did go to the theater, like I said. He kind of had a little bit of a panic attack, and he wanted to go. Normally, this is where, again, things are getting better, I feel like, because in the past, he would have just said something like, oh, I gotta go to the bathroom, and I would have just followed him on purpose, because when that last time we were at the doctor's, and he tried to pull that and tried to run away, like he left the building. Okay. um I know now, anytime he now says, oh, I have to go to the bathroom, he's basically trying to bolt. So I usually just go ahead and follow him. But today I'm actually kind of proud, because he says, instead of, oh, I gotta go to the bathroom, he's like, I don't know if I can stay here. Can we go? And I was like, yes. And so we did. Okay. I didn't complain about, oh, I spent this money on the movie. No, it's not about that. It never is about that. So he's making some improvements. He's had when he's fully medicated, he is making gains. Uh, Even speaking of gains, I think I did talk about this earlier this week, and I think it was Thursday. Yeah, it was Thursday. He asked me, he's like, I want to get big. And that was a weird misconception. I was like, what do you mean you want to get big? It was like, you want to get over obese? And he's like, yeah. So this is again where he's kind of halfway being coherent, but then he's agreeing to things. And I'm like, wait, you're saying you want to be overweight? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, um, you, you mean like your stomach? And he's still saying yeah, but I was like, are you sure? Because you want to go lift weights and things. So are you saying you want to build muscles? And then he's like, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, so we're still working on that. um so yes, he is having more conversation, but then he's also being more self-aware, and this is good. um when it comes to, he's been still eating the ice cream. It's protein rich, honey, because he can't get through. And I'm laughing because, yeah, you would think milk has enough protein, but it really doesn't. And that's a misconception. A lot of people tend to think like, oh, drinking milk, it has so much protein in it. It really doesn't. It is mostly sugar and lactose, you know. So, um, yeah. So that's the ice cream, regular ice cream, for which I'm actually gonna go get some. But I made him that plant-based ice cream, which is very, very protein dense, and he needs that. And he's not done with it yet. But he does like the flavor. So he says, oh, I can have some more. Yeah, I would definitely like some more. So what I'm thinking is, yeah, he'll definitely get another batch of that when he's done with the other. And I said this last week, I believe, is that with the NAC, I've just decided to go ahead and give him doses in the morning and the afternoons, because he needs to rebuild his brain. So beyond the medication is only just like a valve, right? Like a faucet, turn on and off certain like biochemical things. But he needs to be able to do this on his own without that medication. But that takes time, and it takes the right nutrients. And like I said, NAC has been helping. L-theanine has been helping with his mood. So I feel like I haven't been giving him as much L-theanine, but I need to, look into that. But the NAC, though, that gives him clarity, that makes him more focused. And if I had to choose one or the other right now, it is the NAC. And so, yeah, so this week, there's been some ups and downs, but more ups. And if we can be consistent with this medication, that's again that tricky part. Um, I think we can make some real changes. It's coming slow, and I'm getting anxious and I'm getting tired, but it's coming. I'm starting to notice it more, and I'm trying to include him in the process as in education. So I'm gonna go. I'm gonna leave you with this, that we can heal, and that's what I told him. We can heal our bodies. We can restore our minds. A lot of people don't realize that mental illness is malnutrition. There's like a switch that may have happened where you might have genetically had like all the certain elements to deal with, and then something may have happened, a trauma or a substance or something of that nature, and then now you're in the depths of mental illness. But you can heal, though. And I want to find those people who are working on that too, for the sake of my brother. um like I said, TikTok, believe it or not, I'm not a fan of TikTok, but I found out some information that is kind of helpful about the other symptoms so that I can have him be more aware of the other symptoms. Okay. All right. Let me go. The sun's going down. I did give him one more dose of NAC though before I left because of the pollen, because it does so much. It's more than just for the mental health for him. It also helps with your lungs. Okay. So I gave him his dose. Let me just tie up the loose ends. Like, what happened after the movie? Okay. So after the movie, he wanted to try to use his chime card, for which again, he doesn't read anything, and then he expects me to do everything, and then he keeps asking for things. And again, I kind of challenged a lot of what he was asking me for today, just showing more of a boundary rather than just being like, well, he's sick. It's like, yeah, you know what, you're sick, but you need to stop asking me for money every day, like every day. um and he wanted to use his chime card, but he didn't bring it. And then we got back to our apartment, and I told him I'm about to get ready to cook and meal prep for him. And then 5 minutes, like within it, he's like, "Oh, you ready to go?" To use his chime card to go buy a pack of paper. He has packs of paper in the apartment already. I was like, no, no. And then he milled around for a little bit and got some snacks. I gave him his medicine, his afternoon medicine. Um, which again, I think now at this point, what I've been doing is just giving it to him whenever I see him in the afternoon. So anytime after 4, I'm giving it to him. I don't really care at this point. I just need him to have it in the system. So I gave it to him. He started eating snacks. He fell asleep for like an hour and a half, actually longer than that, quite honestly. And then it made me think about it. I was like, if NAC, and I've done the research now, lasts about 5 to 6 hours, and that's again most medications, then I could probably give him another dose of NAC before I leave, and along with the probiotic that I kind of stopped giving him, and then I kind of want to start back giving it to him again. So the probiotic and the NAC and the L-tryptophan, which will help raise his serotonin, and then the L-tyrosine, which is also good for brain health. So I gave him that around 7, right before I left. Of course, he doesn't remember taking the other at all. Um, but he is aware that he is getting things that will help his brain grow. So yeah, so that's where we are. He woke up from his nap. He seems a lot more calm and a little more tired. I guess again, I don't know what time he went to sleep or if he went to sleep at all last night, but he needed to go to sleep. All right. So now, with that, I say, Happy New Moon. Take care.